All right, we're about to dive into what our source material calls one of the most high-stakes, game-changing military operations of this century. It all went down in just 90 minutes, and those 90 minutes, well, they may have changed the Middle East forever.
And the whole thing really boils down to this one central question. How was Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, actually killed? We're going to walk you through the entire operation, minute by minute, and we'll get to the single fatal mistake that, according to the analysis, made the whole thing possible. And look, our source material, it doesn't pull any punches. It calls this one of the most extraordinary sequences of events in the 21st century Middle East. So you get it. This was not just another strike. This was a moment that basically redrew the political map of the region, and it happened in real time.
So let's set the scene. It's 9:27 in the morning, Tehran time. To anyone looking, it's a completely normal day. Inside a heavily fortified compound right in the capital, Ayatollah Khamenei is holding a closed-door meeting with his top IRGC commanders. You know, business as usual.
And this is where the irony is just incredible. What were they talking about in that meeting? The topic on the table was, and I quote, imminent threats to regional security. They had no idea that the real, imminent threat wasn't some abstract concept on a map. It was already in the air, heading straight for them.
Okay, and this is where everything just goes into overdrive. We're now going to walk through the attack exactly as it happened, moment by moment, based on the account from our source.
At 9:30 a.m., just 3 minutes into their meeting, radar screens light up, sirens start to wail. 4 minutes later, at 9:34, the first strikes hit military sites around the city. Khamenei is urged to evacuate to a secure bunker, but he refuses. He insists the meeting continue. And cut right there, that was the fatal decision. Because just 11 minutes after that, at 9:45, a direct hit slams right into the office wing where they're meeting. And then, at 9:52, a secondary blast tears through the complex just to make sure. From the first siren to that final explosion, it's over.
Just think about the sheer speed of this. From the very first intelligence warnings to the final confirmation that the mission was a success, the entire thing took just 90 minutes. 90 minutes to take out one of the most powerful and heavily guarded leaders in the entire world.
So, in the blink of an eye, the leader is gone, and Tehran is just plunged into absolute chaos. The entire military command structure is scrambling to figure out what to do next, all while they're still under attack. The very first thing that happens is a total communications blackout. I mean, these strikes were surgical. They were designed to blind the military right off the bat, taking out key radar stations and communication hubs to sow as much confusion as possible.
And it wasn't just the military that wanted to paralyze. Very quickly, the authorities moved to control the story. Within minutes of the attack, mobile networks across the entire capital just get shut down, and that's followed almost immediately by widespread internet outages.
So you have to understand, the surviving leadership is facing a crisis they've never seen before. This wasn't just a military strike, this was a decapitation. They have to try and kickstart the constitutional process to find a new supreme leader, while at the same time preparing for all-out war.
And you can see the whole state apparatus just lurch into motion. Ballistic missile units are put on high alert. Drones are readied for retaliation. They shut down airspace across the region. And then it happens. The official confirmation comes on state TV. The leader is dead. 40 days of national mourning are declared as the wheels start turning to pick a successor. But this all leads to the biggest question of all, right? How was this even possible? How did they get to him? Well, according to the source, it all comes down to one fatal mistake, a shocking break from decades of protocol. Defense analysts cited in the material all point to this one concept: operational complacency. And what that really means is a kind of overconfidence that builds up from routine. It's when you get so used to things being a certain way that when a real crisis hits, you forget to follow your own safety rules. And this slide, it just lays out that critical error perfectly. On the one hand, you have the standard protocol, the rule they followed for decades. Anytime there's an active threat, the leader goes to a secure, hardened underground bunker. No exceptions. But then, on the other hand, you have what actually happened that day. He stayed above ground, in a predictable, scheduled meeting. That one decision, that single break from protocol, well, it changed everything.
So what does this all mean for the future? Well, the source makes it pretty clear that the consequences of these 90 minutes are absolutely huge. They've sent shockwaves way beyond Iran's borders and could end up redrawing the map of the entire Middle East. The global reaction was instant. I mean, oil markets started to go wild, world leaders were issuing these urgent statements. But the really big deal is that this strike basically redrew the fault lines in the region and kicked off this incredibly high-stakes succession process inside one of the most volatile places on Earth.
And so, we're left with the same crucial question that the source material leaves us with. When all the dust settles, was this more than just a successful military operation? Could this have been a genuine turning point in the history of the entire region?